Thank you, Tim. Thank you all for inviting me and welcoming me to the Labor Day picnic. I've been here many times over the years, but I must say it's been a while. Let me thank Pete McClendon of the Cincinnati AFL-CIO Council for urging me to come and speak today, and my friend Tim Berga, head of the Ohio AFL-CIO as well. They invited me here to Coney Island back when I was state treasurer and then the attorney general, and they saw our work from up close. Through the worst period of the financial crisis, our team safeguarded billions of dollars of public money without losing a penny. And after it all blew up, we took the fight to Wall Street and we managed to recover about $2 billion for Ohio taxpayers, businesses, and retirees. For more than 6 years now, I've continued to fight for you and for all American consumers as the first director of the new U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. My colleagues and I have faced some difficult tasks over those years, but what do? You just pile in and go right ahead and carry them out. So we built a brand new federal agency from scratch. We designed and imposed reforms to fix the biggest consumer financial market in the world, which is the American mortgage market, that had wrecked our economy. And we sent a strong message to banks and large financial companies that in a frank and fair way, the Consumer Bureau would be pushing them to clean up their act and put their customers first. This has been hard work. It's been good work. Above all, it's been enormously satisfying and important work. Our vision has been to reorder a consumer financial marketplace that works for American people, responsible providers, and the economy as a whole. My message today is not a barn burner or a stem winder. It's just about the everyday economics of people's lives. But over and over, what we find is it's not just about the money. It is, of course, about the money, but it's not just that. It's also about dignity and respect. As we do our work, it feels at times like we're literally sitting with people at their kitchen tables all over America, agonizing with them, consulting with them, planning with them. We deal with common everyday products like credit cards, loans for cars and trucks, home mortgages, and bank accounts. We help people know before they owe by arming them with information they need to make smarter decisions about their money. We put in place protections against predatory practices. We hold companies accountable for following the law, and we come down hard on them when they don't. So far, our enforcement work has led to about $12 billion in relief. That's billion with a B. To 30 million people who were cheated or mistreated and who deserve just to get things fixed and get their money back. People from all over the country thank us all the time for getting results, and they often seem surprised to find that we're doing this work on their behalf. Have you ever been treated unfairly by a large company, a large financial company, a nameless, often faceless company? I think we've all had that happen. And when it does happen, it can feel like the deck is stacked against you. It may seem there's almost nothing you can do, nothing, to make the company correct the problem. You know the saying, talk to the hand? You know that saying? The longer saying, as I understand it, is talk to the hand because the face ain't listening. That's often how it feels when you're dealing with these large companies. They want you to talk to the phone tree. They want you to talk to a robot. They don't want to deal with you as a human being and as a person. So we created a new channel, and now people across America can complain directly to us at the Consumer Bureau. So far, we've handled well over 1 million complaints. I think it's 1,300,000 now, about problems with consumer finance and household credit. We send the complaints to the company, and we work with them to get to a quick response, generally within 15 days. Doing this work, we're able to provide real help for people. One of them was a woman named Deborah Jacobs. When she first heard about her agency, she says that she thought, well, that's a waste of taxpayer dollars. So we didn't start off on a good note with her. She didn't hold us high in her esteem. But in 2014, she fell behind on her mortgage and she tried to get it modified so she could save her home. We were doing a lot of that work in Ohio over the years. The bank that had the mortgage approved her modification, but tacked on a nasty surprise, a closing fee of $11,600 in order to get the modification. She told them, if I had $11,600, do you think I'd be in this situation? She tried to find out why. She got no answers and no relief until she turned to the Consumer Bureau. 4 days after she submitted her complaint to us, her bank sent her new loan papers, this time without the $11,600 fee. And so she was able to keep her home. Now when she talks about the Consumer Bureau, she says, quote, they're my saviors. The issues we deal with have a huge impact on people's lives. They're especially important for hardworking people across the nation, people like the ones we all know, who are trying to figure out how to stretch their dollars to meet their needs. Too many people are facing the reality that they have more month than money. Income inequality is one factor that's pushed more and more families into this situation. Our country once embodied the principle that if you work hard and act responsibly, you can get ahead in life. But in recent decades, many people have found that their incomes have not kept up with the cost of living, while the greater share of income growth has gone to those who are already better off. That much we know. But from what I've seen in my current position, there's more to the story here. Income inequality is made worse for many people by three other forms of financial inequality that deepen the divide between those who are counted in and those who are left out. The first is inequality of wealth, which differs from income because it covers all accumulated assets. Estimates indicate that the share of wealth held by the top 1/10 of 1%, we're not talking about the top 10%, we're not talking about the top 1%, we're talking 1/10 of 1%, has tripled over the past 30 years. In contrast, during the financial crisis, the bottom fell out on millions of people whose wealth was tied up in their homes, in communities, and certainly in communities of color. The financial crisis was a stark reminder of the devastating effects of predatory practices. Many mortgage lenders were peddling toxic products to loans to people without even checking to see if they had a job, let alone what their income was. Other loans had super low teaser rates that misled people into thinking they were affordable when they were not. Homeownership, long the ticket to prosperity for middle-class Americans, betrayed millions of people as foreclosures dumped them out of their homes, stripped away their wealth, and ruined their credit records. To keep this calamity from happening again, our agency imposed strong consumer protections that prevent lenders from setting people up to fail with mortgages they cannot afford. They cannot do that anymore. Our rules also protect against the kinds of surprises and run-ons that prevented too many people from saving their homes when they were in trouble. These protections are important steps forward, but they do not erase the damage done to millions of families. The recovery has been uneven and painful, and may take generations to restore what was lost. We see that in communities like Slavic Village and Cleveland, the east and south sides of Columbus, all over the state. Another significant form of financial inequality, which is unequal access to financial services, compounds the problem created by income and wealth inequality. There are 10 million households in the United States who do not use banks or credit unions at all. But living without a bank account is expensive. Saving is harder, and people earn no interest. Cashing a check or paying a bill means going in person and paying a fee. This takes time and costs precious dollars, all of which makes it hard to climb the economic ladder. We're tackling this issue through initiatives to empower consumers by making them more financially capable. And we're urging banks and credit unions to offer low-risk checking or prepaid accounts, which can allow many more people to gain access to the mainstream financial system. When they do that, they now serve as a different example to their children. They start thinking more about the future, and they feel more in control. One more form of financial inequality is lack of access to traditional credit. Credit can bridge troubled financial waters and cushion economic shocks. It can also be a path upwards. If you borrow money for a car or an education, you can create new opportunities. Yet 26 million people, 26 million in this country are credit invisible, which is one way to describe adults who have no formal credit history. Without it, they cannot qualify for most loans or even for some jobs. To attack this problem, we're looking at how other kinds of information, such as payments for rent or mobile phone bills, can be used to build credit records. We're pushing for more accurate credit information and more transparency so people are not unfairly denied credit. And we're working to clean up discriminatory practices that prevent even those with good credit histories from obtaining loans on fair terms. For millions of Americans, policies like these that support basic financial needs are crucial to raise their prospects for a brighter future. If you cannot access credit, getting ahead is nearly impossible. Every time someone is unlawfully denied a loan or pays more for a loan to go to school, buy a home, or start a small business, our nation's commitment to opportunity is diminished and the inequality gap grows a little wider. It fuels a kind of hyper-inequality, that undermines communities and spreads hopelessness. Without hope, people's futures can dwindle away pretty quickly. They drop out of the workforce and they stop thinking about their future, and they may give way to despair. These are real forces that affect people's lives. Entire communities can get the feeling they're stuck in a rut, with nobody to stand on their side or give them a hand up to help them earn a shot at something better. The results can be highly unpredictable. Maybe just a quiet fading away, or much more dramatic problems like the opioid crisis that spread to such a vast extent all across Ohio. What I've learned from my time leading the Consumer Bureau is this: our willingness to stand up for what is right, regardless of the obstacles, can make a real difference. If we do not push back on the forces that press people down, we're allowing America's promises to go unfulfilled. We need to give voice to these concerns, and we need to join together to help each other rekindle the hope, the enthusiasm, and the willingness to find and make our own opportunities. We have to be willing to try, to fail, to try again, and to keep picking each other up, because we just know that something is out there and we can figure out a way to find it. But to do that, we need a system that works for all of us, not just those at the very top. We need to be able to see that wherever we start in life, we can advance through our own merit and hard work. We need a marketplace, we need a justice system, we need other key pieces of our society to operate more effectively and truly reflect the principle, the very American principle, that every one of us counts. Again, it's not just about the money, it's also about dignity and respect. Economic justice and legal practices in consumer financial markets are the same in that they break that promise. That's why this work will always matter. As Dr. Martin Luther King taught us, economic rights are also civil rights. And they matter not just to some of us, but to all of us. We work with many strong leaders who strive to secure economic justice for more Americans, and we do that work too. But when we fail to secure both economic rights and civil rights, we fall short of a just society. We know we can do better, but it takes our people and our government working hand in hand to make that happen. Eleanor Roosevelt, who was herself an active member of the AFL-CIO through the Newspaper Guild, said of this holiday in words that echo forcefully down through the years. She said, "On Labor Day, we must remember that this nation is founded to do away with classes and special privilege, that employer and worker have the same interest, which is to see that everyone in this nation has a life worth living. We must all find our own ways to dedicate ourselves to that great task." Thank you again for having me here today.